Hey guys, welcome back to Interesting Video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Kai'Sa updated complete guide. And of course, before we get too much into detail with the loadout, of course don't forget to check out Kai'Sa's basic guide that I'll link up in the cards above for her skills, leveling order, tips and tricks, as well as some combos. But with that said, let's now jump straight into her items. So the main thing that's changed about Kai'Sa is going for Terminus first item. Now, when Terminus first released, and some Kai'Sas were starting to rush Terminus, I kind of thought that they were trolling. But turns out, Terminus is actually a really solid item. It is pretty expensive. It costs like the same as an IE, so it is a pretty expensive item, as you guys can see here. So it's not one of those builds like you go for a Mana Immune Rush to get a quick Q evolve. No, it's not because of that. Why then do you go for Terminus first? Well, first off, the stats pretty alright. 40 AD, 30% attack speed. Not amazing, not horrible either. 35% magic damage on hit, really solid, but again, not the main reason. So the main reason actually comes from the juxtaposition passive. So this passive gives you, as we know, stacking armor pen and stacking armor and magic resist. So you might be thinking, like, why does this really even matter? Well, of course, as we know, Kai'Sa does do mixed damage, so physical damage on her normal auto attacks, and of course she does magic damage from her passive. So first off, the double penetration helps Kai'Sa a lot more than what it would help other champions. And secondly, Kai'Sa loves 1v1 duels, and that stacking armor and magic resist, although it doesn't seem very significant, it actually does matter. And in the early game, with Terminus and with like Exhaust, you basically can never lose a 1v1 against another like ADC at the minimum. Like maybe if you're against like some top laner or what, maybe you might lose, but against another ADC, you will never lose a 1v1. So this is especially good when, everyone rotates for Herald and it's just a 1v1 and you can go in and kill them. I don't believe I do that in this gameplay because there wasn't that opportunity, but yeah, so of course, as we know, Kai'Sa's best build is on hit. So after this, we go for Gluttonous Greaves. Of course, remembering to rush item completion first for the Q Evolve. Then we go for Gluttonous Greaves for our boots, standard, Omnivamp, AD. And then we just go for an on-hit build. Of course, we have Bork with the percent health damage. Of course, also with the attack speed, AD, physical vamp, drain passive. Wits End for some magic resist, more attack speed, of course, more on-hit magic damage as well as some healing. And by this time, with triple on-hit items, Runans gets insane value. Not only does it give you more on-hit damage, but it also allows you to attack 3 people at the same time, and of course, apply the on-hit 3 times as well. And of course, finally, as our last item, you can go for something defensive like a GA or even a Maw if there's really a lot of AP and you need even more AP. But, of course, amazing last item option is going to be Bloodthirster, just for the amazing stats. I mean, you don't really have AD in this build. Like, you have like 40 AD here, 35 here, 20 here, and like, yeah, not a lot of AD. So Bloodthirster, huge amount of AD as the last item, and, a lot more healing as well. So for the runes, it's a little bit interesting. I take Lethal Tempo just for the attack speed. Now, I honestly find that Lethal Tempo's attack speed is the most useful for me in the early game, like before first item, or like, after first item, before second item, because that's when you don't really have a lot of attack speed, because all of these items give you attack speed 30%, 35%, 45%, 35%. So you honestly, like, Lethal Tempo is not honestly that useful in the late game, like, because at that point you already have so much attack speed that the Lethal Tempo attack speed matters a lot less than in the early parts of the game. So you do have option of going for like Conquer or Press the Attack, for example. But yeah, with this like auto attack on hit focus build, like with all the attack speed, I think Conquer doesn't really make a lot of sense. And Press the Attack I think probably could be good. So it's either Press the Attack or Lethal Tempo for the Keystone. Then we have Brutal, of course, because again, you auto-attack a ton, so you're going to proc Brutal very often. We have Giant Slayer, of course, against tanks. And here you can go for Alacrity, or you can go for Bloodline. Because honestly, you have a lot of healing already from all these items. You also have a lot of attack speed, so it's kind of an either or. Now here I actually prefer to take Bone Plating over Hex Splash most of the time. Hex Splash is also an option. So you could go either way, but personally I don't find Hex Splash on Kai'Sa all that useful compared to other ADCs, because she already has mobility from her ultimate and things like that. And of course for the spells, you always want to go for Flash together with Exhaust, because Kai'Sa again loves the 1v1, so Exhaust is going to help you out a lot in that. So all that said, let's now move on to talking about the gameplay. Okay, so now jumping into our gameplay. Of course, as usual, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Any questions, queries, or remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and of course be sure to address them or drop a like. So, First things first, just a real quick one, just a small reminder. Kai'Sa loves to play with engaged support, but are okay with enchanters as well. I say that because, you know, they can set her up to ult in to assassinate someone, which you will see a lot of in this match, and also she helps. They help her stack the passive to, of course, pop the percent health execute damage. Of course, with enchanters, it could work as well because Kai'Sa is a very strong hyper carry, so that works as well. Alright, in case you guys were wondering, Runan's Hurricane does not stack up Terminus instantly, because, you know, Terminus you need to auto attack 3 times to stack up the pen, and 3 times to stack up the resistances. It does not work. If you, for example, attack 3 people at the same time with Runans, it doesn't stack it up fully. So here, Leona flashes in, stuns the Nautilus. Now this is a very classic support play nowadays, where basically if you have an engaged support, say Nautilus or Leona, you want to actually flash at the early levels onto not the enemy support but onto the enemy ADC. Now why? Because it's honestly not a very common thing to take Hex Splash on ADC. Now I do know I recommend Hex Splash a lot on a lot of ADCs, which is still true, but not a lot of people actually take Hex Splash on ADC. So basically what you're doing here is, before we get into that, Leona goes in onto Nautilus. Nautilus stuck on 1 HP, gets ignited by Leona, and does end up going down. So what I was trying to say there is, so basically what you do with that, I believe I explained this in one of my previous videos also, but if you flash onto the enemy ADC and you stun them and Glacial procs, they're going to be stuck there unless they flash as well. So they're basically going to be forced to flash when you flash in as a support, and you're going to trade your support flash for the ADC flash. The key difference here is you're going to have Hex Splash, as you see Leona has here, but the enemy ADC is going to be hopefully flashless. Even if they have Hex Splash, a support's Hex Splash is more important than the ADC's Hex Splash, because the support has the luxury of channeling Hex Splash into the bush and, you know, proccing it. Speaking of which, here's the Hex Splash in onto Nautilus. We're just free firing on him. Talon comes over, does absolutely nothing except getting exhausted, and basically goes for my minions and is now walking away. But yeah, so basically my point there was, your support Hex Splash is actually ironically more important than ADC Hex Splash. Here we kill Nautilus. Stun card goes in onto the fruit for some reason, and because of that, actually Twisted Fate ends up dying. So he stun cards the fruit and basically is going to pay for it with his life, because Jin ends up scurrying away to the far end of the tower, and Twisted Fate was tanking the tower, so he does go down. Now unfortunately here Lee Sin comes in, kicks me. I ult back away from the tower. I'm trying my best to 1v1 him, stacking my passive fully, and then I Q to an auto to proc the passive, but unfortunately, as you guys can see here, I do end up dying to Lee Sin. I nearly outplayed him there though. You can see that I was desperately trying to sidestep the Q in the fight, but his Q cooldown actually wasn't even up. It only came up at the very end of the fight, where I didn't sidestep anymore and I got hit by the Q. So if I sidestep the Q, I actually think I win against him, because it was really the Q that you know, put the nail in the coffin for me there. Either which way, still a relatively good outcome, all things considered. As to the chain of events that happened here. So here the minion wave has pushed in here, so we're just going to quickly collect this minion wave. And yeah, so this new Kai'Sa build, in my opinion, is pretty good, especially because you do a lot of damage to tanks. Now, I say this because honestly, in the current meta, I see a lot of tanks now. Especially we now know Maokai is basically the most popular champion, top win rate on the China server, in mid, in support, in jungle, and second highest win rate in mid, which is completely bonkers. Maokai completely busted champion, and you know, having a Bork severely counters Maokai, because most Maokais like to take Heartsteel first item into like Sunfire second item. It's one of the more popular builds. So with Bork, you're going to be able to shred them down, and also of course with the early Terminus, when he eventually gets defenses, you're already going to have the pen, you know, to deal with him. And as I also mentioned, tanks are really common. So you see, like for example here you have a Nautilus. Engaged supports I think are coming back in to the meta, and I see a lot of engaged supports, you know, very popular now. Flash in by Leona again, goes in onto Jin. I'm ulting into the backline, as I mentioned earlier. We take out the Jin. Now we're going on to the Nautilus. Nautilus taking a bunch of damage, but unfortunately he's hiding inside the tower. Tries to go for the fruit, which is a big mistake. And I still have my full stack Lethal Tempo here, which is why I really mentioned that Lethal Tempo in those early game fights, surprisingly, is very good, because most of the fights last long enough for you to actually stack up your Lethal Tempo, which is kind of ironic because Lethal Temple generally is a very good team fight rune and very good like mid to late game rune, but I found that on some champions like Kai'Sa, it's actually a very strong early game rune, which is really weird. So either way, here we're basically forcing the tower plates, and we can't really finish the tower because Nautilus and Jin are gonna be reaching the lane soon, so we're gonna have to back off a little bit, and by that I mean basically base, which is what you see me do here. I get my gun as grease. Now, unfortunately, may not have been the best base timer because the dragon is started by the enemy team and we are contesting dragons. So I'm not in the dragon fight. So this probably was a little bit of a troll base for me, but turns out my team doesn't even need me. The enemy team does secure the dragon, however, we are winning the fight. Lee Sin now in trouble as well. Lee Sin goes down. Jin is now in trouble as well. Leona's cutting the wave on the other side. We're pushing in. I'm just preventing him from recalling to make sure he's stuck under that tower. He's going to be stuck in a 4-man tower dive pretty soon. Now, I think Leona makes a bit of a mistake here by going in a little bit too early because all she really needed to do is prevent him from leaving the tower. So what ended up happening here is inexplicably, the Jin actually escapes the 4-man tower dive. Now, how did this happen? Well, basically, because Leona went in on him under tower when the rest of us could not, he basically got to 1v1 Leona under the tower. And now with Leona dead, there's no one blocking his exit anymore. So all he has to really do is simply just run away. And because of that, he actually escapes the 4-man dive, or what would have been a 4-man dive if we actually executed it properly. And he actually gets away, which is a tad unfortunate, to say the least. But either way, we're still doing pretty hot. We're 4-1-1. Our team is also doing pretty hot. We have a 4-0 talent. Set is 500 gold ahead of the Gwen. Twisted Fate is also a little bit ahead of the Varus. And yeah, we're just doing pretty alright overall. So here, I try to ult into the backline and try to do some assassinations. But unfortunately, I just end up dying straight up. Like, all of them are so low HP, but we don't end up getting the kill on any of them. Yeah, but our team is trying to clean up. Ends up trading like 1-for-1 here. Here, Set is on the chase for the Varus, but doesn't really look like he's catching up. Like, they have like relatively equal movement speed, and yeah, and he's not catching up. So you can see you're running all the way. He tries the W as a last resort. Doesn't really work out. And Varus escapes with the 1 HP in the extended chase. Did waste a lot of Set's time though, so a huge win for Varus. Now, my Set has been too busy chasing the Varus, so his top lane is completely unprotected. I don't want Gwen to get this tower for free, so I'm gonna go to the top lane, or technically it's the bot lane, but you guys get what I'm saying. I'm gonna go to the Baron lane and stop the Gwen. However, you can see fights are happening at the mid lane, which I really want to be there. But turns out that I'm now the new top laner because Set just ignores his lane completely and left me, to my own devices here at the lane. I'm gonna summon the... I don't even know what this is called, but the Scorpion, basically. And Gwen recalls for some reason, so this basically means I'm gonna take a free tower here for no reason, together with my, I don't know, the Scorpion pet thing as well. So now with that tower secured, I'm actually just gonna back and buy, and Gwen of course is back to the lane to just clear up the wave, and yeah, I'm not gonna go back to that lane. I want to go elsewhere. And like up top we have like Set and Leona, just there together for some reason. There's really weird lane assignments. No one is going to defend the Gwen lane again, and I don't really think we can expect Talon to be there because he's the jungler. I mean, to be honest, you couldn't expect me to be there because I'm the ADC. Like, why am I defending the top lane? Like, by myself laning against the Gwen. Doesn't really make sense. Something I've basically never done. So here, obviously a fight's gonna break out. Now, Varus gets off a ult onto my teammates. I'm gonna have to run away a little bit. I try to ult back in. Lee Sin tries to go for me, but I exhaust him and he's just dead. Nautilus is now running for the hills. I'm pretty low, so I do have to be a bit cautious. Nautilus gets hooked back in. I'm able to finish him off eventually. Varus tries to finish me off, but it's not quite successful. Unfortunately, I have to take the fruit inside of the Varus E, which reduces the healing quite a bit. So I'm, still at pretty low health. Obviously, they don't really want to tangle with us anymore, so we are gonna back regardless. So doesn't quite matter, the fact that I was really low. Here I get my Bork, which means I get my E evolve next. Of course, the evolution order is always gonna be QEW. I think pretty much it's always gonna be that way because W evolve really isn't all that helpful. Even if you're building AP, W evolve still isn't even that good. Speaking of AP Kai'Sa, I'm gonna be covering a new AP Kai'Sa build in the coming days, so you guys can definitely look forward to that one. But before that, Kai'Sa video, I'm gonna cover a couple of other champions as well. So stay tuned for that as well. A lot of videos lined up, for the next couple of days. As you guys know, we have been having our daily releases. Of course, this is only when we have the time to make these videos. If we don't, we're gonna go to like alternate day, or even less frequent than that. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. Here, Nautilus gets out on me. All I have to really do is walk away. I do knock up 2 people extra in the process of walking away, but hey, gotta be safe here. Lee Sin tries to get the steal, doesn't get it. I ult over the wall to reach the fight, but Set ults Lee Sin back into the pit. I flash away from the Varus ulti because I'm alone over the wall, and if I get rooted there, I'm gonna get focused by 3 people and die. Here I pick up a double, and Twisted Fate gets a shutdown onto the Varus, and Varus is now kind of a little bit on a tear. He has like the most gold in his team with 9k gold, which is kind of almost on par with me, Talon, and Twisted Fate, and 3 of us are really fed. So he has been doing a good job of farming one way or the other, has the Varus. Here I'm just going to stick around and continue grabbing some waves. Jin is dying in the meanwhile in the bot lane. Another Rift buff share is up. So I'm just going to quickly grab this little red buff here. Even though I already have one, just to refresh the duration. Obviously no one on this team really benefits from red buff other than me. Or at least not benefiting as much as me. So here we're going to grab that. Now Talon's setting a trap here for Lee Sin, having cleared his entire red side jungle. Lee Sin actually walks right here. Unfortunately, I don't have my ult, so I can't really follow, and Lee Sin just hops the wall. So maybe not the best placed trap from me and Talon. I back pick up my Wit's End, which does give me enough gold, sorry, not enough gold, does give me enough for my W evolve. Now if you guys notice, Twisted Fate has the exact same build as me, so he's going for some funky on-hit Twisted Fate kind of build. He has lethal tempo, and he's going for like this attack speed kind of Twisted Fate. So that basically makes my team full AD. So if the enemy team was smart, we would be seeing a little bit more armor boots, and a little bit more, just in general, just a little bit more armor on the enemy team. Like even if you're playing an ADC, like even if you're a Varus, you probably should be going for armor boots. Same goes for Jin. Like armor boots have so high value in this game because you counter my entire team. Like my entire team is physical damage. We don't even have any form of magic damage. Like it's not even like we have a Soraka support or like Nami support that does a little bit of magic damage. We have literally no magic damage aside from basically me, in the sense that I have magic damage on Terminus, I have magic damage on hit on Wits, and I have magic damage from my passive pop as well. So I pretty much have the most magic damage on my team. Now I accidentally take the blue buff while trying to kill the little vision fairy thing. But here, Gwen gets pretty much caught. Unfortunately, I get caught by a Nautilus knockup into the Varus, into the Lee Sin kick. But eventually we do get the kill over there. Here we get another kill, and basically, the game's pretty much over for the enemy team at this point. We have Baron, and we're knocking on the doors of their base. So unless unless Jin and Lee Sin can bring up some kind of incredible defense, this is gonna be all she wrote. So here my team secures the mid lane tower. I'm gonna secure the bot lane tower in the meantime, and we can try to finish off the game. Nexus Shield's still alive. Varus takes a beating. Jin takes a beating. I nearly die from the Nexus tower shot, but we're gonna just go in, quickly finish off the base, and call it a day. So I'm gonna leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.